Good morning, this is Mr. Parks with the video for Wednesday, March 18th, covering the work from Tuesday, March 17th. I have a special guest presenter this morning who may try to help give some answers for the math problems. So here's Ernie to help us do our powers of 10 today. So with that, this is a review, so hopefully everyone has a good understanding of what we were working with. So let's go ahead and take a look at the problems. When we are working with powers of 10, we are working with moving decimal points. So you're going to see me kind of dragging across the screen periodically as we work on things. So number one, which equation is not true? 20 times 10 to the third power is the same thing as adding 3 additional zeros. So if I did that, I would have 20, then 200 for my first one, then 2,000 for my second one, then 20,000 for my third one. And we already have our answer. And then if you wanted to check the rest of them, 20, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra zeros, so that one works. 20 times 10 to the first power is the same thing as multiplying 20 times 10, which would give us this. Anything with 10 to the 0 power is the same thing as multiplying by 1, so that one would stay the same. And we will have a question for number 6, actually, that addresses that. So I'm going to go across to number 4. Which power of 10 makes the equation true? So we start with 4.63. I'm going to drop my little dot right here, and I am going to count to the left. So when we divide, we are counting powers of 10, and we are moving the decimal point to the left. If we're multiplying, we're moving to the right. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 to the fourth. Number 2, which statement correctly describes how to divide 0.92 by 10 to the third? So we are going to move the decimal point to the left, and we are going to move it 3 places to the left. Number 3, what is the value of 23.5 times 10 to the second power? That would be the first would take us to 235, and then the second one would take us to 2350, and that matches with letter C. Number 6, which of the following would not change the value of a number? That would be multiplying by 10 to the 0 power, which is the same thing as multiplying by 1. Number 8, decide whether each expression is equivalent to 21.58. Mark equivalent or not equivalent. So I am dividing for the first one, which means my decimal point is going this way, which means I'm actually getting smaller. So that one is not equivalent. If I do times 10, I'm moving twice to the left, and if I do that, I would have 21.58, so that is equivalent. If I multiply by 10 to the 0 power, it stays the same. We're already there. Dividing by 10 to the first power, it would go back to the left one, so that would also be equivalent. And if I divide, I am going this way. I actually can't tell. It looks like that's supposed to be a decimal point, but it also looks like it could be a comma. So depending on which one you interpret, if we say that we're starting here, we move over 4 spots to the left, that would give us 2.158, which doesn't work. And the other one does not work as well, because if this was a decimal point instead of a comma, we would get incredibly small number. So it does look like to me it's a comma, and that means our decimal point would go right here, but we would be 1 spot off with that. Number 9, which of the equations are correct? Mark all that apply. That is a sure way of knowing that we are going to have more than one correct answer. So I'm starting with 4.17, multiplying it by 10 to the 0 power, which is the same thing as 1. Taking 4.17, dividing it by 10 to the 0 power, which is the same thing as 1. So both of these are going to stay at 4.17. Both sides are equal. Letter B, we have 0.0417, so 417 10 thousandths. divided by 10 to the third power equals 4.170 times 10 to the third. We're getting smaller on this side, we're getting larger on this side, so this one is not going to work. Letter C, 41.7 divided by 10 to the second is going to give us 0.417 or 417 thousandths. If I move this one over 2 spots, I will get the same thing for multiplying this number times 10 to the second, so this one would be equal. Letter D, I'm not even going to try to say what that is. Times 10 to the third, we are going to go to 4.17. This one, if I go backward 1 spot, gives me 4.17. That would be equal. And the last one, 41,700 divided by 10 to the fifth would take us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we would put our decimal point right here. If I go forward 5, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would give us 41.7, so these are not going to be equal. So our correct answers are A, C, and D. Number 10, compare each expression to one whole. So we want, is it going to be greater or is it going to be less? So I am going to start with this one. So if I start here and I multiply, I'm going to move 4 spots. So as soon as I move the second spot, I'm already at 3. My answer for this one would be 300. This one is going to be greater than 1. We'll bring it here. Bring it here. Ernie, bring it here. Our second one going across the top, 0.03 divided by 10 to the first power. We are going to get even smaller than what we already started with, so that one is going to come over to this side. 30 divided by 10 to the first power, that is going to be equal to 10. And so that is going to be greater than 1. Down here, we are going times 2. That would give us 0.3. That one goes here. Dividing this one is going to get even smaller. And then multiplying by 10 to the 0 power, that one is going to stay exactly where it is. And that one will also come over here. So the top corner on the left and top corner on the right are greater than 1. Everything else is less than 1. Our last one, I have typed this out. So Jen makes beaded jewelry to sell at art fairs. The prices are shown in the table below. Does not want to use beads that cost more than $1 each. Which bags? So bag A comes out to 18 cents and a little bit extra per bead. Bag C cost 0.012, so 1.2 cents if we were changing that. So 18 cents a bead versus just over a penny per bead. The second option, bag B, would be $1.55 per bead. So those are the answers for today. So I hope everybody is having a good understanding of how this is working. If you have any questions, feel free to ask or by either sending an email or through Class Dojo. I've had parents ask if they can do extra problems with their students. Of course, I will always be happy to provide extra answers for the questions that we're not working on if your student wants to do additional work. For the moment, right now, we're just planning on collecting all of the work when we get back. If you want to send me pictures of completed work in Class Dojo messaging so I can keep track of it a little bit more easier, that would also be fine. So have a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.